Hello and welcome to the next thematic list build. Slowly but surely, we're working our way through the Space Marine chapters. This one is for the poster boys of the Marines. Heck, the poster boys of Warhammer 40k itself. It's a thematic list build for the Ultramarines. For those new, the goal of the thematic list build series is to create a 2K Strike Force sized list based around a theme central to the focused faction. And with that stated, let's take a look at the subfaction rules. The Ultramarines subfaction rule is Codex Discipline. Compared to its 8th edition iteration, it's the same. It gives the Sons of Guilliman +1 leadership, speaking to their courage and honor, and the secondary perk allows them to fall back and still shoot. Sure, there is a -1 to hit penalty, but make no mistake. This powerful exception means the Ultramarines can't simply be tagged and have their shooting efficacy nullified. Unlike some of the other chapters covered thus far, the Ultramarines Doctrine bonus, the Scions of Guilliman, has not received any functional FAQ changes or updates. And it remains an ability that enables units which make a normal move to make their shooting attacks as if they remain stationary, while the Tactical Doctrine is active, serving to boost their versatility with Bolter Discipline and ignore the move and shoot penalty with heavy weapons. All said, the Ultramarines perks are all about tactical flexibility. Their leadership bonus aside, their chapter tactic will see them be much harder to tie down, and their doctrine will allow them to maintain accuracy with heavy weapons, as well as the rate of fire of their rapid-fire bolt-type weapons. Regarding the thematic objectives of the list, they are to create a Defenders of Ultramar themed list. Due to the release of the Uriel Ventress model, it presents the opportunity to build a list that is evocative of the 4th Company, and to maintain tactical flexibility, while also featuring some of the newer Space Marine units. Now, let's go over to the list breakdown. The list is structured as a battalion. Let's start with the main man himself. Captain of the 4th Company, and the warlord of this list is Uriel Ventress. Ventress is built upon the Captain template and comes with all of the Primaris Captain's attributes as a foundation. His unique ability, Unorthodox Strategist, will allow you to use the adaptive strategy Stratagem for 1 command point instead of 2, a nifty ability that speaks to his character. His other unique features are in his war gear. His custom bolt gun Invictus is effectively a mastercrafted bolt gun with an additional point of AP and 6 inches more range. It's not too shabby. His melee weapon, the Sword of Idaeus, is pretty beastly. Wielding it, Uriel gets 6 attacks on the charge, hitting on 2s at strength 5 with AP 3, dealing 3 damage flat. Man, every hit landed will take chunks out of its target. This is further bolstered by his warlord trait, Paragon of War, which deals a mortal wound in addition for each unmodified wound roll of 6 made from his attacks. Onto the troops. Taking the role of our line holders are a 10-man squad of heavy intercessors, all equipped with heavy bolt rifles. They are the bigger, tougher, shootier variant of intercessors, who gain those benefits in exchange for an inch of their movement and their melee effectiveness. But I think it's something they can definitely wear, since as Ultramarines, if they are engaged in combat, they don't have to give up their shooting in exchange for falling back. As a squad of 10, you have the flexibility to combat squad them in deployment as needed, based on mission parameters, enemy blast weapons, or any other justification. This is then followed up with another heavy intercessor squad, this time 5 men strong, and with 1 Marine equipped with a heavy bolter. This group functions in the same capacity as the previous, but the inclusion of a heavy bolter opens them up for the 1 command point Hellfire Shells stratagem. It fires a single shot from the heavy bolter, but if it hits, it deals D3 mortal wounds, and versus monsters, it deals flat 3 mortal wounds. If the target's worthwhile, you can consider comboing this with the Ultramarine stratagem Martial Precision, which will let that single shot auto-hit. Next, adding some point defense where you need it, is a 3-man squad of aggressors loaded up with auto Boltstorm gauntlets and Fragstorm grenade launchers. Like the heavy intercessors, the aggressors have the defensive potency of Gravis Plate, and while their guns are weaker, they have a way higher fire output when it comes to their volume. But more importantly, their power fists allow them to be deadly melee combatants. Following that up, we have 2 venerable Dreadnoughts. Both are equipped with the combat weapon, Stormbolter, and heavy plasma cannon. Dreadnoughts make a great backbone component within Space Marine lists. They can perform in both shooting and fight interactions. Wisdom of the Ancients allow them to raise efficiency in areas that may be out of reach of your supporting HQs, and Duty Eternal makes them far more survivable. These venerable dreads have 3 additional points of note: a weapon skill and ballistic skill of 2+, a 6-up Feel No Pain, and the heavy plasma cannon, which finally in 9th edition has a base damage of 2 which can be supercharged to 3. Next, bringing in some dedicated anti-tank firepower are a unit of 3 Firestrike servo turrets. Each base can fire 4 effective lascannon shots at the 24-inch range, with a nifty 2-up ballistic skill, all while looking on point for the defensive aesthetic. There's a strong argument for them being the least flexible unit in the list, but I think this is remedied by the fact they are a great candidate for the amazing Ultramarine stratagem Rapid Redeployment. For 2 command points, you can redeploy up to 3 units on the battlefield before the first turn begins. Using it effectively, you can bait your enemy's deployment, then move your units to a safer position, or to an opportunistic one, which in my honest opinion makes for an incredible strategic advantage, especially when you consider that deployment takes place before you know who's going first. And that sort of rounds out what I would call the core of this defense force, the shield as it were. The remaining units serve as the sword, ideal for going forth into the heart of battle, but can also just as well be kept in the backfield should you need a counterpunch unit for aggressive enemies. To start, we have a unit of 5 Assault Intercessors, which meets our troops' battlefield role requirements. The Sergeant has a Power Fist, and they do what Assault Intercessors do: shred infantry and melee. Following that, we have a 3-man unit of Blade Guard veterans. These guys serve as the heavy hitters compared to those intercessors, who are better suited to deal with lighter targets, generally speaking. On to the final HQ choice, which will be a Blade Guard Lieutenant. Not only does he fit right at home with the Blade Guard vets, but he also brings that valuable reroll 1s to wound for core units. A command point has been spent to give him the Warlord trait Adept of the Codex, which will help your command point stretch that much further. He has also been given the special issue war gear item, the Reliquary of Vengeance, which lets him once per game increase the attack's characteristic of core and character units nearby by 1, which will be especially valuable to the Assault Intercessors, Blade Guard vets himself, as well as Uriel Ventress. And the last unit of the list is a Repulsor, taken with the Twin Heavy Bolter, Heavy and Standard Onslaught Gatling Cannons, and 3 Storm Bolters. Loaded in this way, it's set to be an anti-infantry machine. Regarding its transport capabilities, it can be used by the group of heavy intercessors who may want protection while they push for midfield objectives, but its capacity also allows it to fit the 5 Assault Intercessors, 3 Blade Guard vets, our Lieutenant, and Captain Ventress, or our Lieutenant, the Blade Guard vets, and the Aggressors. I'm sure you get the idea. This repulsor can be used in conjunction with many units across the list, in various combinations. And that's the list. It comes to 2,000 points and provides 11 command points after giving our Lieutenant the extra Warlord trait. I think it's pretty well suited to the 4th Company Defenders of Ultramar theme. Ventress aside, it has several defense-oriented units that offer some flexibility as well. Plus, being led by a Captain and Lieutenant feels very appropriate for the Ultramarines. As for anti-tank shooting options, we have the 3 Firestrike servo turrets, and the 2 heavy plasma cannons on the Venerable Dreadnoughts, plus the Hellfire Shell on the 5-man heavy intercessors. And in melee, we have the 2 Venerable Dreadnoughts, and the Aggressors, and the Intercessor Sergeant's Power Fists. For elite infantry and light vehicle shooting options, we again have the 2 heavy plasma cannons on the Venerable Dreadnoughts. And in melee, we have Uriel Ventress, all the Blade Guard units, plus the Power Fist units mentioned previously. And providing anti-infantry fire support is the Repulsor tank and the heavy intercessors, with the Assault Intercessors supporting in melee. That's a wrap on this one. Thanks for watching, and a special thanks to my patrons who help keep the dream alive. This was my Ultramarines thematic list build. If you have any questions, comments, or requests, please feel free to drop them down below. And if you're an Ultramarines player, I'd be curious to know how you are feeling with the new addition of Uriel Ventress. So, if you enjoyed this video, there is a like button. And if you want to help my channel grow, there is a subscribe button. There's also a bell button and a share button, so press the buttons you want to press. Thanks again for watching, and I'll hope to see you guys in the next one.